with about four-ish minutes into the fourth quarter. Satou Sabally goes up for a shot. She kind of gets her and Jackie Young. Well, Jackie kind of like clamps her arm on Satou's. It wasn't on purpose. It's just, I don't think it was on purpose. I think it's just what it was. And it was a foul. And Satou Sabally loses her balance and ends up colliding with Kierstan Bell's thigh. And it's not really something that you want to see, because you see, first of all, she made an impact with Kierstan Bell's thigh. It looked like, especially when they showed the replay, like it looked really, really, really bad. Right? Satou Sabally is on the ground for a long time. Like a long time. We end up eventually seeing her get helped up, but she does end up needing to be let back down, right? In my opinion, they should have brought out the stretcher. It didn't look like she was in it at all, but they helped her up. She went back down, and they basically are carrying her off the court. Like, she is not, like, she is moving her feet, but like, it's very clear that like if Kalani and that trainer was not there, she would have been back down. And watching this in real time actually made me really mad. Actually, this made me extremely mad about how, first of all, how long she was on the ground, and how they should never have picked her up to begin with. If you looked at the replay, it was an impact to her head and basically head and neck area, right? It was her head to Kierstan Bell's thigh, but basically it's a head and neck area injury. And what do you see typically when someone gets their head and neck injured? What do you see? You see them supposed to lay flat on the ground, and they're supposed to put a neck brace on the person. We didn't see, well, first of all, she was on her side. And they kept moving Satou. No neck brace. No neck brace at all. And then they tried to pick her up, and she ended up going back down. And at that point, when you pick her up and she comes back down, at that point, shouldn't you say, okay, let's lay her flat, let's bring out the stretcher, let's put a neck brace on her? But instead, they're like, no, we're gonna get you up. We're gonna get you up. And they pick her up again and basically carry her off the court. And I gotta say, this made me so mad, because I'm not a medical person, but to me, that was a glaring thing that should never have happened. And I ended up finding a clip of a doctor who talked about it yesterday, and I want to share that clip with y'all.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jess. I'm a physical therapist, brain injury survivor, and founder of Concussion Corner. I want to talk about the Satou Sabally injury that happened tonight during the WNBA Finals, Phoenix versus Las Vegas Aces. Essentially, what we saw today was an appropriate call for the concussion protocol. Absolutely, no questions asked there. My concern is actually how she was helped off the court, and I want to break that down. Essentially, what we found is that when Satou Sabally was down, she was laying on her side, and she was then also laying hook lying, which means on her back with her knees bent. I get that for recovery. We respect the athlete. We let them recover. We also want to make sure that a cervical spine clearing is also done. I believe that we want to make sure that we're ruling out a cervical spine injury with the brain injury and a spinal cord compression injury as well. My concern tonight is that she didn't independently ambulate off that court. When she was there, she went from sitting when they finally got her up to being lifted up. And we want to see players independently do those things. We don't ever want to lift our players up, even though we want to help them. We want to make sure we're protecting her spine and her spinal cord and also her brain. What we saw is not only did she collapse, she also had a moment where she actually wasn't able to walk off the court. They call that ragdolling. It's not a very good medical terminology. However, people understand when they see it. She was max assisted up. She was max assisted off the court, and she really wasn't ambulating independently off the court. She was kind of being dragged off the court to get her there. I want to see a C-spine. I want to make sure there's no contraindications there. The National Athletic Training Association, the American Physical Therapy Association sports section, and the Concussion and Sport Group all says we have to make sure that we are collaring our patients when there is a suspected C-spine injury or spinal cord injury. With that being said, my prayers go out to her. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, we want to make sure, if in doubt, sit them out for the concussion. That's fantastic. That happened tonight. But also, we want to make sure we're doing the acute sideline job that we need to do to protect the player's spine and spinal cord and cervical spine. And I don't think that was done well tonight. And again, the stakes were high. All eyes are on these WNBA finals, and we want to make sure that we're translating this information to people that matter. And again, I hope we do better for the future. My prayers go out to Satou Sabally and her family. I hope she gets excellent medical care from here on out, and that she has a speedy recovery. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, my name is Dr. Jess, physical therapist, brain injury survivor, and founder of Concussion Corner.
So yeah, I wanted to share that in particular because I wanted, first of all, after that happened, I wanted to try to make sense of like why they didn't do what, in my opinion, they should have done. And so it was really interesting to hear from Dr. Jess, someone who has been studying concussions for a long time, talk about this situation and talk about like how the medical folks that were there at the arena ultimately didn't do as good of a job as they could have done in terms of making sure that Satou Sabally was really okay. Like, we should have seen a neck brace. We should not have seen them basically carry her off the court. I thought, in my mind, as a non-professional, it looked really, really bad. And it looked like they should not have lifted her off the court, and they should not have carried her out. But I wanted to like check and see like, are like actual medical people saying this too? And so that's why I ended up finding this this clip from Dr. Jess, and I wanted to make sure to share that with you all, just so you all have a little bit more context, because when we're outside of our depth, I do think it's important to like see what other people have to say, right? Tulip says, this reminds me of last year POA injury at LSU. Yeah. I feel like I talked about that yesterday with my mom. I was like, hey, like, I am having memories of basically yelling at the TV and being like, what are y'all doing? Put her on the ground. Don't touch her. Like, bring a stretcher out. Let the professionals handle it. Like, I was actually like, I was pretty upset yesterday watching that. It's a good thing I wasn't live, because I was pretty mad, because I'm like, what in the world are you doing? And yes, it did remind me of that last year of last year POA getting injured as well. Like it because here's the thing. Now we have to be clear that maybe the medical team, maybe the medical people, maybe they didn't see the impact. Because I guarantee you, if they watched the replay after the game was over, they probably were like, oh, we shouldn't have done what we did. Because in real time, it was hard to notice exactly what happened in real time. And so I wished that while she was on the ground, someone would have, the coaches have like a tablet that allows them to replay stuff. Whoever is the coach that was in charge of that tablet, they should have looked at the play and saw, oh, head, neck injury. Red alert. Medical people, this is what happened. Look at what happened. And so hopefully they don't move her the way they were moving her. I really think that the people involved in helping Satou yesterday didn't really see what happened. And if you really saw what happened in that replay, I don't think it's any way that you actually that you actually move her the way you did. Like, I don't know, man. It just looked really, really bad. And I just wish someone would have taken a chance to actually look at the replay instead of just going straight into action, straight into moving her, straight into helping her up even though it was very, very clear ESPN got a shot at her face, and you could tell she was out of it. Like she was out of it. And you still decided to hoist her up. And even when she went back down, you hoisted her up again. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Not just as a regular person, right? But also, you heard from Dr. Jess and what she had to say. I just think that the WNBA, not only does the WNBA need better refs, not only does the WNBA need better facilities in some of the arenas in terms of like getting bigger arenas, but the WNBA also needs better medical professionals. The WNBA needs to be able to handle medical emergencies like this better. This is unacceptable because the reason why they put a collar on the person's neck is for a reason. It's to prevent further injury. Who's to say them moving her and hoisting her and doing all this stuff, who's to say that hinders, that might hinder her recovery. I just think all around the WNBA needs and deserves better. What we saw yesterday was dangerous. It was dumb. And ultimately, these players deserve better. It doesn't make any sense. Now, truly, the league should be investigating this. They need to be investigating this. Because God forbid this happens another time in the WNBA. You need to be able to act immediately, decisively, and correctly. And that's not what happened yesterday. That's not what happened. Right? It's not. It was ridiculous. Okay? That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Because here's the thing. Basketball is a physical contact sport. You don't know what can happen. So as a medical professional at a basketball game, at any real sport like basketball, football, soccer, like you got to be ready for anything. You got to be on it. And again, decisive and quick and correct. So I don't know. I just had to do a quick side note on that because I thought that was egregious what we saw yesterday. Absolutely egregious. And absolutely should not stand. Like, Cathy, I know that you don't have good relationships with people around the W. I know that you don't call people, right? You don't call people when they get injured. You don't call people when they retire or when things happen. But Cathy Engelbert, you need to be on the phone figuring out who in the world is in charge of the medical team in the Phoenix Mercury. Figuring out why they did what they did yesterday. What was their rationale? And figuring out, okay, well, this is telling them this is unacceptable. And what are you going to do in the future to ensure that, to ensure the safety of your players? Meaning having staff that can accurately diagnose stuff. Well, not diagnose stuff, but it's clear that there was an injury to the head and neck area. And so like you doing the obvious things by putting on a neck brace, sending out a stretcher, like doing certain, like Cathy Engelbert, you need to be on the phone. You need to be on the phone right now. I know you don't want to talk to people. I know you are, whatever. But you got to be better. I mean, no, this, Olivia says, yep, this is Cathy's fault. I will find a way to blame it. This is not Cathy's fault. However, as a league commissioner, you have to be involved in stuff like this. When things go wrong, you need to be involved and be like, okay, well, we got to make some stuff happen. And we got to be better. Yes, she doesn't hire the medical staff. But at the end of the day, the person at the top of the WNBA is Cathy Engelbert. And again, she doesn't need to be in the minutia of things. But when things go wrong, it's like CEO of a company, right? They're not involved in everything. But when things go really, really wrong, you got to step in and say something and figure out what's going on and make sure that you can make some changes, right? Oh, my bad, Olivia. My bad. C says, what happened to Dantas? She was in concussion protocols for many games. She was injured in training. Fever did not disclose exactly what happened. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what happened to Damaris Dantas because it happened, I believe, in practice, and there's no cameras, there's no whatever, so we don't know. We don't know. I wish we actually got something more for Damaris Dantas, but we didn't. So, but this, we could talk a whole bunch about this because we actually can see the footage. Like, we can actually see it. And so, like, this is a different beast. Absolutely different beast. Right? Kay Jackson says, trainers are not doctors, but they go through a certification process. Yeah, they're not doctors, but I do believe that there is actual medical professional, like not a trainer, at every game, at least for like you see like like usually like in the hallway area or something like that for most of these arenas, like you see a stretcher and you see like somebody from a local, well, it depends on the team, but like somebody from like a local ambulance company, they're there just in case something goes wrong, like, and so like there is a stretcher there where it should be because it's one at every arena when, you know, during games and whatnot. And there should be somebody, a non-trainer medical professional who is there and can assist as well, right? And so the fact that no one, like the fact that no structure was actually brought on the court is just, to me, absolutely crazy. Yeah, EMS is usually in the arena. That I couldn't think of the word for that. Yes, usually they're there and it's at least one person and they have a stretcher, and I believe they usually have a neck brace just there, just in case. I just think that was wild. Absolutely wild. But again, there was nothing nefarious on the play. It was not intentional, right? It was not intentional. This was not a thing where Kierstan Bell was just running in and try to get the rebound. Like this was not a nefarious type of injury, right? It's just a freak accident that ended up really, really badly. That the aftermath was terrible on how the Phoenix Mercury handled it, right? Smid says, I taught lifeguarding for several years. The first protocol in suspected head and neck injuries is to not move the individual. All basic first aid classes teach this. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, as a non-medical person, I've never been in medical school, never took a medical related class, but I know this. I feel like everybody knows this. Like if you see somebody injure their head or neck, you don't move them, and you're supposed to put on some sort of neck brace, and then you call in the real professionals, and the real professionals will handle it from there, right? Eric says, Cathy is a business person, not a basketball person. She understands numbers. The personal relationship thing isn't her strong suit. You're right.